rise, a force unbroken, with banners high and hearts awoken. The sound of pipes, our war is calling. Like thunderous waves, our duty is falling. Stand tall, together we fight, with courage found in every breath. We'll fight like lions, defy our death. In unity our hearts shall sing, the legacy of warriors through every reign. With battle cries we forge our fate, in fields of valor we elevate. As shadows loom, our spirits flee. Brothers in arms, we are the trees. Fearless, we take the night, with courage found in every breath. We'll fight like lions, defy our death. In unity, our hearts shall sing, the legacy of warriors through every reign. As dawn breaks, we know our name.
As dawn breaks, we know our name. Do you guys know your names? I hope you do. Welcome to the Saturday Paranormal Morning Coffee Talk with me and Eric. Of course, I'm NGHTHAWK, one half of your hostess. I guess it's a hostesses, since there's two of us. Anyways, getting into the disclaimer and a brief apology for the lack of lives in the last week. Between my physical health and the internet here, I was just unable to do it. So I did those short videos that I released, and hopefully that appeased everybody from being upset with me. Now, as always, I claim fair use of all content under the Copyright Act of 1976, which is otherwise known herein as the Fair Use Act, okay, which makes allowances for purposes such as criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, research, parody, and entertainment value under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Furthermore, I wish to acknowledge that not all the opinions, I almost said options, the opinions and theories mentioned during the podcast are not necessarily the opinions or the viewpoints of NGHTHAWK High Strangeness podcast channel or William NGHTHAWK, aka me. We at NGHTHAWK High Strangeness YouTube channel and Facebook channels merely bring the open format to discuss the possibilities of topics happening from the past, present, and future. Please join the NGHTHAWK High Strangeness YouTube channel family by subscribing, and please hit that like button. Man, I'll tell you what, we are not getting those likes, guys. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if everybody's just not doing it or what, but that's the biggest help you can give anybody on a channel is to hit a like button. So that being said, please put all questions in capital letters and be respectful in the chat, and we will get on with it. Let me get rid of this lovely picture and turn the mics back on. I got a few announcements I want to make to everybody. That is, we are going to have David Lester and I are going to have another discussion on the 3rd, this coming Wednesday at the same time. I think it was 9 o'clock last time Eastern, with the Wicked Wildlife Encounters. And we're going to be covering the ocean encounters. Okay. And we're going to lead into the following episode, which is going to be about big cats and stuff. Okay. And other wildlife. So that being said, look for that this Wednesday night. That's going to be alive. Hopefully the internet will hold out till then, and hopefully the weather will hold off from knocking the internet down. But yeah, today we are going to get into some very, very weird subjects. Everybody's always questioned me, oh, where does the dogman come from? Where is a werewolf come from? Where is this and that to come from? It's the canine type of a cryptid. And we're going to get into that today a little bit, okay? And we're going to see where it leads from there. We're going to get into some UFO and UAP topics and stuff. Portals, interdimensional traveling, quantum leaps, you name it, we're going to discuss it. So, Urso, I hope you have your thinking cap on there, brother. Okay. And Roxanne and everybody in the chat, because we are going to get into it. Okay. So, Eric, how is that back doing, young man?
I can move around a little bit better today. A 10-minute job of loading firewood into my wheelbarrow and getting it in the house turned over to an hour, and I didn't get everything in the house yet. It's a slow, painful process, but we're getting her done, did. I got to bring in at least a wheelbarrow of wood a day to keep this house warm.
Sounds like you need to hire a nanny.
I need to hire a bunch of people.
Yeah.
maybe trying to clean up my daughter's mess. She left my house in a pigsty.
Maybe we can find some some dwarfs from Snow White's little group and see if we can get them to come over and give you a hand, because it sounds to me like you need more than just an extra set of hands. You need a couple set of hands.
Well, it sucks too. Is I just bought 7 gallons of chainsaw gas because I've got a couple trees there get cut up and split, and hell, I can't even do that now. I'm hoping to get a buddy of mine down here this weekend to help get that wood cut up and split, and that nerve in my shoulder's finally gone away. But I don't know if it's because I'm doped up or what. But I'm taking painkillers and lidocaine patches just to keep this pain down where I can move.
Yeah. Well, just stay stationary. Don't try to move too much. Keep that back braced up a little bit straighter than normal, and just keep that ibuprofen nearby, because that's about the best thing you can take for that back pain right now. Folks, we are going to get into a lot of different things today. So we have to, we have a I don't know what's going on with the internet, but we have a delay, probably about a minute delay between myself and Eric. So I don't know if it's because of his cell phone or if it's because of the internet here, but we gotta try and work with that today. So be patient with us today, guys, if you would, please. But we are going to start talking about dogman, werewolf, any canine cryptid type of a creature, okay? And a lot of people ask me, Nighthawk, where's the origins of the dogman come from? And I've always said, you know what? My people have always been told, and my father told me, and my uncles told me when I was a child, that those type of legends came from the Alaskan and Yukon area and the Nihani Valley area, way back in like 1600s until present day, and apparently that they basically branched out. It was basically a cursed tribe of indigenous people. And I don't know if it was a curse that was put onto them by a dark medicine person from another tribe, another nation, or whatnot. But I did find out that the Inuits, in their mythology, okay, in their mysterious creatures and stuff that they have in their lore, there's an adlet. Now, adlet is a mysterious creature from mythology, Inuit mythology, okay? that is described as a half human and half dog in folklore. They are often portrayed as adversaries of humans, okay, towering over them, both the Inuit and the foreign settlers. Some stories even depict them as beings with cannibalistic tendencies, okay. Now, this is something that I've always said that kind of makes sense, and it goes along with a lot of the legends that my family has told me. I'm going to take the banner off of there so you guys can see that a little bit better. And my computer's getting slow. Come on, computer. All right. Anyways, they're described as half human and half almost dog like, wolf like type of a being. Okay. And they are cannibalistic because of their canine tendency. And of course, humans are cannibals too. We eat meat. Um, so that being said, it's got the double whammy on it. Okay. Now the curse of the Adlet was basically one to where they were cursed. There's two different ways of looking at this. There's one way as looking at it as a temporary curse that hexed or cursed a certain time frame. And what I mean by time frame, I mean, like the werewolf transformations of that legends of the full moon and new moon and blood moons and all that, where they became, the werewolf. Okay. We don't know 100% for sure with uncertainty if these people were dogman or werewolf all the time from this curse, or if it was imposed within, say, the moon cycles, the lunar cycles. Okay. So we're kind of, skeptical on that. I'm under the belief that they were dogmen all the time, but a lot of researchers out there believe that they were werewolves too. That being said, they were very, very fierce, very, very um, overpowering when it came to the humans around them, especially the Inuit. Okay, they were a type of a being. They were pack mentality, definitely. They were aggressive, very aggressive in nature. And you can almost liken it unto the canine cryptid that has been cited and counted as a dog man, which has the hyena look to it. And the reason I say that is because most of the violent dogman encounters are typically the hyena type dogman type of encounters. Okay. So, and there's usually where there's one, there's two or three, just like when you're dealing with Sasquatch. Okay. Just like when you're dealing with Bigfoot. Okay. You're going to have a pack mentality because they travel in a pack or a family unit, plain and simple. Okay. So these things have been throughout Inuit mythology for a very, very long time, along with, the Sedna, the actual forsaken gods, which were literally humans that were cursed and made into cannibalistic mermaids. Okay. So, you have both of these off of one indigenous culture's legends. And to me, it's amazing because it covers such a wide gamut from dogman to merman, and merwoman. So that being said, I don't know about you, Eric, but have you ever had an actual dogman encounter?
I missed part of that, bud. He cut out. I don't know if it's my internet or what.
I asked you if you ever had a dogman encounter, actually, where you physically saw a dog man.
No, I've ran into several situations where I think it could be. but nothing definitive.
Okay. We all know about the encounter I had here walking Jacob with Tracy the one night back in, I think it was 2016. And I literally had to pull my sidearm at the time because of our safety. They basically had us on both sides of the road, so they could have definitely made an easy prey out of us, but they turned and ran away. So I'm under the impression that this type that's coming from the Inuit culture and legends and mythology is more of an aggressive type of a being than what most people deal with. Because the only one down here that I've actually found out that was more aggressive than, say, your typical dogman, okay, is the hyena type dogman being more aggressive. So I don't know if it's just a different bloodline type or whatnot, or a different gene pool, but the encounters that I've heard and reports of are actually very violent, very, very frightening, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, most of your typical style dogman you hear about is not really violent, but just like Bigfoot, there's species that are.
Exactly.
There's types that are very violent. I'm trying to see if I can switch my laptop, make it speed better.
Yeah, I'm checking to see if there's any comments in the chat that are capitalized.
Yeah, it's hard for me to see the chat and deal with it right
here.
now, so I'm trying to couldn't find my iPad, so I want to see if I can't do this from my laptop.
Well, you don't have to. You could have given your back a rest.
Oh, that's okay, man. I don't like leaving a brother hanging.
Well, I'm not worried about it. I'm sure everybody in the chat's not worried about it either. So we're just lucky to even have a show today, to tell you the truth. Like I told you backstage, I almost broke this finger.
Yeah.
I went to reach for a damn doorknob, and what happens? You guys know when, if you notice, I took my homemade splint off, but probably should have kept it on. Would have hurt a lot less. But this thing being aluminum, hit the damn doorknob and the door, and I about bent it all the way back to where it was before. Thank God I popped it back in place right away. So looks like I'm going to be wearing this another week.
Yeah. Yes. Back deal couldn't have come at a worse time with, snow right around the corner.
Yeah, snow is literally, I guess Iowa, anybody in Iowa today is getting hit really bad.
Yeah, it's not fun, that's for sure. Why the hell wouldn't I go in there? Huh. Yeah, set this up here for a minute. If anything, I got a new stand. There we go. The struggles of life.
I don't know,
but
it just came to mind. What came to mind just now, watching you and hearing you grunt and groan like that, reminded me of the old Tim Conway on Carol Burnett show, where he did the Mr. Wiggins.
Yeah.
and the dentist, where he did the Novocaine shot and do his leg.
Oh God, man, it sucks. Hey, Ozzy Sue, it's good to see you, sweetie. How you been?
First day of summer, December 1st. Oh. Well, we know where we're going to go. We're all going to hang out at Ozzie Sue's place.
No kidding. I tell
I'm
you, man,
already
Australia is a beautiful country.
Yeah.
It really
I'm
is.
already sick of the cold here, so it really is this terrible anytime. But anyways, that is where the legend of the Dogman came from. Now, I know a lot of people kind of I'm trying to read something. Somebody just sent me a message. Okay.
Oh, that's cool, Ozzie Sue. I'm glad you got your new home.
Awesome. Awesome. Now,
Yeah.
has anybody in the
Oh,
chat, Eric, ever had a Dogman encounter? That's what I want to know. Have they ever physically had a one-on-one or a two-on-one encounter with a Dogman? And if they did, the outcome of it, the interaction, and the description.
yeah. I know Corey has. And
Yeah, I just posted his comment.
yeah, I'm trying to get this laptop up and going to see if I can't help out with that. I've had several things that happen here between livestock mutilations, domestic animal mutilations, that originally we contributed that to cougars, but the more you think about it and the vastness of it and the sheer amount of destruction, I don't think it was. And my area is known for dog man. Now I've had several stuff happen here, and some of it recently that makes me question if it's not dog man related. Because like I said, I mean, my area is known for Bigfoot and dog man.
Okay. I'm curious to know. Amy has this here where she says that she hasn't seen a Dogman, William, but she has seen a werewolf. Now, how did you determine the difference between the werewolf and the Dogman? Is what I'd like to know, Amy, if you could. Let me know in the chat. Because there's a lot of confusion, I think, when it comes to that type of a descriptive nature.
Yes, correct. That's what I try to tell people. And then everybody's like, "Well, it ain't medically possible for you to transform like that. Your body's not made." I said, "Yeah, you're talking science and you're talking medicine. You're not talking about dark magic. Dark magic is what's
Exactly.
involved um, on werewolves. Dark magic has no place at all in werewolves." Mm.
Sorry, I'm reading. I'm reading the chat, guys. Give me a second. Corey, he
You're good. I
has
got to punch his code in.
2 at the same time for my best friend and I. It was the only time I ever seen him draw his firearm. Okay. Then Ozzie Sue says, William, myself, and my 2 eldest sons seen one in 1986 while driving at night. It appeared in front of our car. Was that in Australia, Ozzie Sue, or was that in America or someplace else? I'm interested in hearing
Dude,
about that.
Australia's got a lot of dogmen. Australia has a ton of dogmen.
Let's see. I'm trying to keep up with the chat. It's going pretty good. Okay, Amy, that makes sense then. Thank you for acknowledging that, Amy. That makes a lot of sense. She says, because I was little, William, and that's what my grandfather called them. There wasn't a dog man back then in
Well,
the 80s. Actually, there was a dog man back in the
yeah,
80s. But
1984.
it was known as the beast. It was known as the Beast of Bray Road. So there was some serious feedback there. Okay. Urso, I saw a tan coyote that was abnormally long and hunched over, sniffing, tracking. When I got to the attention, it leaped straight up over the hedge, about 4 feet high, about 8 foot deep. Wow. That's quite the leap. That was definitely quite the leap. That reminds me of the picture too that was going around too about the recent sighting of a dog man. Urso, I don't know if I have that on file or not. I'll see if I can find that. Good morning, V Team Paranormal. Good to have you in here. Okay, something else I want to talk about too, guys. While we're on subjects of the weird stuff, we cover a lot of topics here on this channel, a lot. More lately, it's been more paranormal and supernatural than it has been cryptids, but we're slowly getting into the normal wildlife encounters too, the weird, bizarre wildlife encounters. But there is a theory going around, and this just struck me late last night to bring this topic up too. And we lost Eric. Okay. All right. Anyways, we have this theory going around about how everybody is. Well, let me ask you this first before I put that theory out there. Let me ask everybody in the chat this while I have the chat up and I can read it. Have you ever felt like something, whether it was tragic or traumatic, happened in your life in the past that shifted your life in a certain way? That maybe quantum leaped you into another parallel world that you were in. Okay. And the reason I ask that is because, see, there's this theory about going around about how everybody's not living anymore. That we are literally living off of our cycled brain cells. And that it continues to put this almost like this projection screen in front of our eyes, and it plays our life out for us. And science has said that your brain doesn't die for like 60 days to 120 days after death. But who knows, those 120 days or 60 days could feel like 60 years or 120 months, I mean, we just don't know. So, like my life shifted dramatically when I was diagnosed 6 months to live, okay, with cancer. That was 5 years ago. Okay. Has anybody ever felt like things were a bit off from the way that their life used to be after a tragic or a traumatic event or an epic event, something that was really, really prominent? Whether it be a car accident, whether it be anything medical wise, heart related, lung related, a disability related, because this has been talked about a lot. And I wanted to kind of cover this today too, because it seems like things have definitely gotten a lot more bizarre than, hold on, let me get a couple of these up here in the chat. Big shift after my husband passed with cancer. Yeah, you know, and that's one thing, you know. But did it happen, Marcy? Did it happen to you? Did you have a, in other words, were you so distraught that maybe something physically happened to you and you just aren't aware of it, and say we just aren't here anymore? Now, see, the reason I question this theory is because, like Marcy interacts with her daughter all the time, okay, and Corey interacts with me all the time. What if, I'm just curious to see if everybody had something to kind of link them together that happened. You know, kind of like a collective, like an ant colony. You have your host, and you have all the worker ants. Okay, what if we're all part of a same collective, and we all didn't survive something, and we shifted, and instead of completely dying off, a little bit of us dies each time that we shift, and we just go into the next world, parallel world, on down the line. Like, take a mirror. Okay, you take a mirror, for example. Okay, and you hold the mirror up to another mirror. Okay, and you look in the one mirror, and you can see mirror after mirror after mirror after mirror after mirror in the one mirror. Okay, but when you look at the other mirror, you see one mirror. You see what I mean? Why would it show multiple dimensional mirrors in one and not the other? What if we are all just part of a nexus, of a collective, and something just happens to make us shift? Like my diagnosis in 2019, maybe I died. Maybe I did die in 6 months like they predicted. Okay, maybe I didn't survive the 9.5 hour surgery. Maybe a part of me died, and the remainder of me, 95% of me, transferred to the next life, the next parallel world, closest to the one that I was in. And that's why things feel a little off, or seem to be a little distant, or you see things more. You have more paranormal and supernatural interactions. You know, you see where I'm going with this? This is just strictly a theory. And, you know, I wanted to bring this topic up today. I was going to wait till tomorrow, but I'm not going to. I wanted to get it done today.
Sorry, my laptop's happened to update, so it kicked me off everything.
Yeah, I know. I got something coming through on mine now too, blocking the chat. It's from Hewlett Packard.
Yeah.
Says to download and install. I'm not installing anything on this computer. I'm not going to have it crash on me. Well, that's so much for seeing the chat.
I can see the nope. I can see the chat. I think I figured out how to
I
Get
got
where I
it
can put it
now.
up on the stage and stuff. See ya.
Hold on. I'm going to put Ozzy. William, in 2007, I had a very serious car accident. I died 3 times on the way to the hospital. I heard a voice telling me that it's not my time, as I've more to do. I woke up 3 days later. But yeah, and see, that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about, Ozzy. I'm talking about that same exact thing. Um, you had that tragic event happen, and for 3 days, you basically had no way of knowing where you were at, who you were, or anything. As far as the world that you're used to. Okay, let me see what else we've got here. So, was that the trigger that actually had you shift into a parallel world? Something just a little, not exactly the way that you perceived things in your original place that you were in, but in another parallel world that shifted you into because of that event, and things are just a little off. They're not far off, but just enough off to make you think and say, well, you know what? That's kind of weird. I don't remember that being there, or I don't remember this happening this way, which we all relate to the Mandela effect. Okay. But what if it was actually not an actual Mandela effect? What if it was something like we part of us died and we shifted, we quantum leaped into a parallel world, just a little bit different from our own. And that's just, something to consider, because that's why I wanted to ask everybody in the chat today, why, if they had any events happen like that were very, very traumatic and could possibly unalive them and make them quantum leap into another closest dimension, realm, world to the one that you were originally in. And maybe that's something that happens time and time again, like the mirror effect. When you look into a mirror and you see these different levels of a mirror, dozens and dozens of times all the way deep, maybe it's that kind of a setup. William, there's a theory that CRRN did open a black hole. You mean CERN? Okay. Just say CERN. You don't have to do the scripted stuff there, Jonaside. There's a theory that CERN did open a black hole, and we are now trapped in it till we pass through. That's true. I do know that, and we have more than just CERN to worry about, unfortunately. There's several of them out there. There's one actually pretty close to even where we are here in Virginia. There's one in Kentucky and Tennessee also, colliders, hadron colliders. Not as big as CERN, I don't believe, but they're still the same thing. And there's another one in Minnesota, I believe, up by Doug Hychek at one of the universities up there. So, yeah, I mean, God only knows how bad they messed things up and timelines up. But this is just a theory that people have been kicking around. And it kind of makes sense to me, because when you think about it, we live multiple dimensions at the same exact time, because there is no such thing as time. Humanity is the only thing that made up time. Time never existed until the humans said, oh, let's make, this time in the morning 6 a.m. and this time in the morning 9 a.m. It was always day and night, and following the sun, would depict how many hours of the day you had left, or how much, daylight you would have left, even changing of the seasons, the shorter the sun span, the colder the season. So, I mean, there's so many things when you think about it that I remember when I was 15 and 16, the wall burst into flames and someone walked through, said, you have been chosen. And I woke up later on, but I wasn't asleep for that. Oh, wow, Urso, that is wow. Now, see, that's almost like the encounter I had with the it's almost the encounter I had with the grinning man coming to me at the windows. So see, that's a thought that I had, Celia. Good to see you, Celia. That's a thought that I had too about that. But it's so hard to determine the root cause of why things have gotten so off. I mean, we can blame CERN till we're blue in the face. They're never going to admit to anything. Um, we can discuss the whole theory of we're all already dead, and that yeah, I know there's a hadron collider in Tennessee, Marcy. Yeah, there is there's so much that we don't have answers for, and it just makes sense to me to bring it up in conversation and to try to rationalize what in the hell is going on. What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, can you guys hear me pretty good on this thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I can see things better with this than I could my phone. Yeah, at the beginning I wasn't a big subscriber to that, but I'll tell you now, the more I look into it, the more it makes me wonder: is this what is there some truth to this? Because there's some. I mean, it's just like every myth. It's just like every folklore, every legend. There's always a kernel of truth to it.
Yeah.
And as conspiracy theory, however you want to put it, there's always a level of truth to it, if not a whole truth. So
Yep.
there's got to be something to it, because I mean, you cannot deny, ever since they fired that thing up, weird crap has happened.
Well, and you got
And,
I have to also consider too, though. I've got to also consider too, though, that with my diagnosis in 2019 with 6 months to live, you know, after that event, after that diagnosis, things got supernaturally charged. I mean, my interactions with the supernatural and the paranormal multiplied by hundreds, if not thousands of times. And what I used to see once or twice a week is now 3, 4, 10 times a day. So, the whole possibly dying and shifting part of me, leaving part of me behind dead, and part of me shifting into a next parallel world closest to the one that I was originally in, kind of makes sense. So, that's the whole theory of it. And if CERN did anything, then CERN actually did something to make it worse. So, but I really think that initially, when CERN fired up in 2003, I believe it was, that they initially started something, and I think it snowballed from there. And I think certain powers that be in society today, call them elitists, call them the cabal or whatnot, Fauci, I think they took advantage of that fact, and they wanted to, how do I want to say, depopulize. So, and that's just a theory. That's just my thoughts. So,
call the herd. Calling the herd.
yep. Sorry, I got to get some caffeine in me. Starting to gasp for air.
You're good. I started drinking mine.
I don't know. This bugged me last night. The more I thought about it, and I wanted to talk to everybody today about it too. Also, whoa, just enough room. Whoa, okay. All right, I got it all. Just enough room in the coffee cup. I just wanted to put that theory out there and talk to everybody about it and see what they thought. To me, it's pretty fascinating if you consider the ramifications of possibly dying multiple times through multiple events, and part of us going to a parallel world closest to the one that we departed from. It kind of makes sense, and especially with all the weirdness going on, especially all the supernatural stuff. Maybe that part of us that we left behind in that parallel world that we left dead is the reason we have that stronger connection to the supernatural in this world. I don't know. It's all speculation, guys. That's all. I'm trying to think above and beyond outside the box, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, it does definitely makes you wonder. Come on. Trying to get this. I missed a chat and I'm trying to get up to it, and I'm so used to my computer that I had to redo all this. There he goes. But all this stuff, it has to make you wonder. I mean, you can't have a mass world population noticing the changes and there not be something.
Exactly.
Is some of it clickbait? Is it some of it? Hey, is huh?
No, I agree. I was agreeing with you.
Is it? Yeah, I mean, so is some of it clickbait? Yes. Is it some of them? Well, I won't be on this bandwagon with everybody else, so I'm going to say this too. Yes, that's going to be a part of it. That's just the cold hard truth about this stuff. There's people out there that's that way, and but a mass percentage of them notice the same stuff.
Exactly.
Even I noticed, like I grew up going to Star Wars when I was a kid at the theater. And even I remember the changes. Even my trilogy sets that I got and my box sets of all the Star Wars out there, I've noticed the changes in them movies versus what I had when they were VHS or I watched them on TV up until mid 90s, I think it was. I can't remember. Somewhere around there is when it all changed.
Yeah. Hi, Judy. She says, my late husband lets me know with repeated numbers. You be careful with the repeated number stuff, Judy, because sometimes that's not all that it's claimed to be. Trust me, I know. It is something you just got to be a little leery of, okay? So hopefully it's all good. Yeah, Corey, I know. I know they're all. It's just
Yeah.
I just think it's something that we need to talk about it. We need to figure out what's going on, because too many people collectively are having supernatural encounters at almost the same exact time, and that tells me that something psychically or spiritually connected all those collective souls together, in the same frequency to receive each other's communication. I don't know how to describe it. It's such a quantum theory that the one physicist said it best, that we live multiple lives at the same time, the same exact time, in multiple dimensions every day of our lives. Well, what if it was more of, instead of looking at it as like, say, a raindrop on top of a raindrop on top of a raindrop from above, what if we took and we tilted it sideways like two mirrors and looked at it, and you look into one mirror and you can see 200 mirrors down past that, getting smaller and smaller and smaller as we go, representing the parallel worlds that are closest to ours. And if a part of us dies in this world, the remaining part of our soul or our spirit goes on to the next closest one. And to me, that just kind of makes sense. It really does. Because when you entail all the weirdness that people are experiencing today, it does make sense. That's why I put it out there, everybody, asking everybody, what if they had anything tragic happen or anything dramatic happen, something really epic happen in their life at a certain point in time, and immediately within a week or so after that event, did you notice things changing? Did you notice things physically changing in the world that you were in now? That's why I brought this up, because, it's like last year, or no, it was 2 years ago, I did a podcast and we were talking about, businesses and name changes and stuff. And, for the longest time, I used to drive past this one local college on the local route here. And it had one specific name for the longest time, for years and years and years. And then all of a sudden, one day I drove past it again, and it had a completely different name, completely different look. Have you experienced stuff like that? Because now that to me is more than a Mandela effect. That is literally a quantum leap, because you just can't change things that drastic overnight. Changing the letters on a sign or changing a sign's facing is easy. Okay. They can do it, overnight. But changing the colors of the school, the exterior painting of the school with multiple buildings, do you know what kind of manpower that would take? This is why I question these things, guys. And this is why I wanted to find out what you all thought today. Okay. So that being said, what have you guys experienced? Tell me some of the weirdness that you've experienced after some kind of a tragic event. I know Ozzy Sue has. But you guys just think about it. Did you have something happen in your life? And it doesn't even have to be recently. It could be roughly 10, 20 years ago for that matter. And you've been stuck in this loop, okay, until the rest of us came in. You know what I'm saying? As a collective whole.
I just had something pop in my head, man. And I don't know why I didn't think of this before. One of the main reasons why we went over to the big kitty litter box, not just for the lies they told us. I mean, not all of it was lies, but, some of the stuff they told us on mainstream news. We got an Anunnaki artifact that is none of the materials is of this world. And it's called a looking glass. And you have to take it to certain locations of power, wherever it is around the world. And that gives you like 150,000, 15 million. I can't remember the number. I think it's 150,000 different outcomes of what can happen in the future. What if they're using that along with CERN to alter the past and the future?
Now that would make sense. That's actually a very sound theory there. But do we have any proof that looking glass was actually found? Is anybody going to admit to it and come forward? Is anybody going to be a whistleblower and put their ass on a line? Because this many people don't have this kind of supernatural encounters encrypted encounters without something occurring personally in their lives. And obviously, that type of a device would affect everybody worldwide.
So the paperwork did get leaked on it. There was some whistleblowers that came out about it. I've seen the paperwork on it. They did find the artifact. And it is from the Anunnaki. It's from ancient Samaria. And certain entities, I got to be careful what I say on YouTube. Certain entity of not a very good nature had it. And that's the key word, had it. They don't know more, but they did have it. And that's about the time when things started changing. If you actually look at it, it started changing. I'm surprised you haven't came across that. Well, I guess you'd been out. Never mind, you'd been out whenever when they got it. That was one of the big things we went over that big kitty litter box for.
Mm-hmm. I just lost my chat for a while. That's weird. That is too weird.
Again?
Yeah. Something is shutting the chat down on my end. That is too weird. I don't know, guys. There's too much weirdness happening. Well, let's move the cycle forward here. Hey, Hillbilly, good to see you. Let's move this cycle forward here a little bit, and let's talk about UAPs and UFOs and portals and interdimensional gateways and stuff, because obviously this whole situation currently that humanity is in, and it's not just here in America, it's worldwide. People are experiencing this time and time again every day of their lives. The supernatural and the paranormal events are just off the charts. Okay. And to me, are they using the UFO UAP thing as a cover up for some of this? And you all know that I delved into the UFO thing for a very long time too. I mean, I still keep records. 2022 to 2023, there's a total of 510 total UAP reports, 144 reports of a UAP over 17 years time previously. Okay. 360 of those reports in 17 months. Okay. Out of the total of 510. 360 of them within 17 months. That's a lot. Okay. 171 of the UAPs were unexplained. Okay. So we can toss that into the unexplained or possible supernatural phenomena type of a thing, paranormal phenomena. But 350 new UAP reports within 50% unexplained. That's not including the number of unreported or covered up UFO and UAP encounters. So, your numbers go from basically being 30% unexplained to a year later, 50% unexplained. That's a hell of a jump. We're talking a quarter of a percent of 100%. Mm-hmm. We're talking, 20, 25% increase within a year. And you can't tell me that you don't have those increases unless something happened to trigger it. Whether it was made to just cover up some of what's going on. So we think it's something else and not what we're talking about today, or is it real? And these are the things and the reasons we're having these occurrences.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it makes you wonder. I mean, is it? Let's go biblical for a second. We're going to take us to a biblical um, side of it, and let's say this is what it talks about in the Bible as the end of times, but it's not the end of times as we were taught. Is that why we're seeing this increase? Is that why we're having more encounters? Is that why more things are coming to the light? Because I'm a firm believer, I don't think the end times is what we are taught in church. I think it's something different. I think it was either purposely or unintentionally altered to give us a false end of time.
Right. Or if it's just a
Because if you
reoccurring
actually
reset
study
after every 3,000 years.
ancient, you study all the text, kind of like the Mayan calendar.
Exactly. Yeah.
You actually
Exactly.
study the end of times, every civilization, ancient to current, they all say there is an end of time. Now, most of them, not all of them, most of them, it was talk about how you're going to become a different life form, a higher being. And even the ones, except for the one, well, no, even the ones that's not the same as that, um, it's still very similar to the other ones. It's just got a slight little tweak to it. But other than
Right.
that, the outcome of them all is the same. You basically ascend to a higher level of being.
Yeah. Trying to read the chat as it's
This
going
chat's
by.
flying, so it's hard for me to keep up on this laptop. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm trying to get it posted up as much as I can. It keeps moving on me, and this laptop, it's a little bit more difficult. But yeah, it makes it that's why I don't think it's the gloom and doom that is there going to be a type of mass extinction? Yes, there is some people, but I don't think it's going to be an extension as, hey, Larry, these people are going to get wiped out. What I think it is, those people are going to be left behind. When the true believers of the faith, the true, people that's going to ascend, they're going to ascend while everybody else is left behind. And what I mean by
Exactly.
left behind is they're going to stay in the state that they are now and not ascend to a higher consciousness, a higher way of life. Not like going up into the clouds into heaven, ascend. No. Talking about we as a people will ascend to a better way of life.
Hey, Kevin. Yeah. It's just, to me, it's just, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's just, to me, the whole concept of dying and just going from one existence of a parallel world to another one that's just slightly different, and so on and so on and so on. Is that
Yep.
just is that just a way of, I mean, it's a pretty sound theory. I can't imagine everybody would die unless it had something to do with a worldwide calamity. And somebody in the chat earlier brought up the fact of the C-19. That was a worldwide tragedy. And you couple that with everything else that's been going on with weather manipulation, CERN, Project Blue Beam, and all this other crap, going on, that you can't help but wonder if the encounters that we talked about with the UFOs and UAPs isn't Project Bluebeam covering up part of the facts that they want to cover up. You know, maybe, just maybe, I don't know, man. It's just, to me, it's just too bizarre. There's too many things, weird things going on simultaneously. And statistically, for that to happen is an impossibility.
Mm-hmm. Well, consider this. We are the only species on this planet that is controlled and ruled by greed and power. That is human nature's prime, well, modern human nature's prime existence is greed and power. The days of knowledge is power is long gone. Greed is the new power.
Yeah. Well,
Fear
here's
is the
another.
new currency.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's another thing to consider too, y'all. Consider this. We were allegedly made to mine gold for the Anunnaki race. So they say. That was 3,600 years ago. Okay, they say, in the cycle that it's in.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming up on 3,600 years since the Sumerian tablets were just, ciphered and all that, giving an exact date of time. So are we going through this perpetual cycle again? Are we actually at the point now that we're getting rid of the monetary system and going digital? Maybe that's the end of end, to bring gold back as it used to be, to mine it again and start over again, and give the gold to the Anunnaki. There's so many ways we can go with this. The time frames, the 3,600 years, even biblical wise. I mean, I think it's what they estimated it at, like 3,700 years for the end of times in the biblical prophecy to fulfill itself. So, I mean, I don't know. There's too many what ifs. Okay, because this kind of inconsistency, this kind of Mandela effect, this kind of supernatural encounters doesn't happen and occur this much to so many people at the same exact time unless something ignited it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
yeah, Amy, you're right on that. I didn't want to pop that up in the chat. I'm just going to say, yeah, you're right on that. I don't know if I want to say it in here because I don't want to get you in trouble. Mr. T or PT also went down to check our gold reserve. He said all of it was gone. There was nothing there.
That's what I figured. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that was real gold back in the 70s when those senators went down there and looked at it. 1970s. What was it, 76 or something like that? 76 or 78, one of the two.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I think it was just all lead bars that were painted gold. I really do. I don't think we have had a mass amount of gold since it was mined for the Anunnaki. I think that whatever remnants of the Anunnaki race that is still here whether it's bloodline related or not, is the ones that are getting all the gold and the precious metals, more or less the gold than anything, because they know that come every 3,600 or so years, the Bureau is going to come back, and what's going to happen? You know, we're going to have to turn over the gold to them to replenish their atmosphere. So I just, I don't know, man. There's too many what ifs.
I know where most of the gold and a lot of precious stuff was, and a certain individual, first time doing something, took a lot of it from that location. And this may upset some people, but it was in the Vatican. Why is the Vatican holding the gold?
Well,
and stuff
the
like
Vatican, the Vatican took the gold
for
fillings
almost
from
a year.
The Jews that were killed during World War II at the concentration camps. The Vatican took all their gold fillings from the Nazis. So, and that shows you how evil the Vatican is. And I'm not saying the Catholic Church as a whole is evil. I'm saying the Vatican is evil, not the people of the Catholic faith. The Vatican is evil.
Yeah, a certain individual spent a good part of a year taking in the stuff that was hidden within the Vatican and giving it back to the people where it belonged.
Yep. I don't know. These are just all things that we need to consider.
That is,
and I think everybody in the chat really just consider it and think about it. Yeah, who has the gold makes the rules is definitely the way it is. And we've known for a long time that there is this shadow government, whatever you want to call them, the cabal, the shadow government, the Anunnaki, the reptilians. I don't give a shit what you call them. To me, it's all the same thing, just different names. Okay. And they do that to confuse us. They do that to throw you off the scent of what's actually happening. And we need to wake up to it.
Yep. I agree with you 100%, Amy. 100%. We've covered that on here a few times. I agree with you 100% on that. Think of it this way. All the religions that's out there, all of them, all the religions that's out there, what does every single religion bow down to when a certain individual comes into town? How you tell me people don't even believe in that, bow down to this one individual?
Why do other foreign dignitaries that are actually powerful have to kiss the Pope's feet? Why do they have to kiss the Pope's ring, the gold ring that he wears? There's so many whys and what fors that we need to figure it out, man, because they're going to keep doing this to humanity until humanity just is null and void anymore, and they make something else. I don't know.
Corey, you just had to do that to me, didn't you, buddy? Hard to see the dark side is. Powerful it is. Cloud does it.
I agree with Unreal.
You had to go Star Wars on me. Yep. You and me have said this, I don't know how many times on this show. Certain individual, Amy put it in there, is the new Caesar, is the current Caesar. And the Vatican is the current Rome.
Exactly. Same old Roman army.
In the Bible, it says, thou shalt not worship. Yep. In the Bible, it says, "Thou shalt not worship false idols." Correct? Are we all in agreement? That's in the Torah. That's in any type of Bible that you want to claim. Do we all agree that is a passage that's in all that, right? What is something a certain religion does on a certain day of whatever month it is to bring out so people can worship it? And there's enough Catholics and former Catholics in here knowing what I'm getting at. And this is a good reason why I can't follow that. They bring the bones of saints out for people to worship. They bring bones of apostles out so they can worship. They bring pieces of the crucifixion out for people to worship. That is worshiping false idols.
Yeah. And think about this connection too. The golden idol, the Oscar.
Yeah. This is something that so many people watch, and I absolutely refuse to watch it. But this is ties to Rome, the Olympics.
Yeah.
What is the main thing that happens at every opening of the Olympics? And if you actually take that and study certain religions, you'll actually, I ain't going to tell you what it is. I want you guys to look it up. But that process and what is lit, if you look at a certain type of not very nice religion, you'll crap yourself.
Yep.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. Oh my God. I seen something. I don't know why I missed this as a kid, because I grew up in around a Mormon. Most of my family are Mormon. Some of them are modern day Mormon now. Quite a few of mine are still traditional Mormons. I got my hands on a Mormon book, Mormon Bible. There was a picture in there that absolutely blew my mind. Mm-hmm. And hey, Jessica, it blew my mind. In one of those pictures, it is literally labeled "Jesus Goes to the Americas." Before I tell you what's in this image, I want you guys to guess what type of people was in them images when it said Jesus went to the Americas.
Oh, I know Jesus.
When I seen this, I went, "Oh my God!"
I know Jesus was here in America.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Well,
we have Lakota legends. Lakota people have legends of a beautiful white man coming to us with a long flowing hair and beard, wearing all white, and coming to our people and teaching some things to our people, which is I believe where the cross representation of the medicine wheel comes from. And I'm just a firm believer in that. Now we also have to also compare it to the legend of the buffalo calf woman coming to the Lakota people in the same imaging, and we can correlate the two, because first off, the color white. What have I always said, guys? Follow the pattern. Follow the patterns. Look for those hidden patterns in everything. Okay. You will find them. Okay. The reds, the blue colors, the whites, numbers, letters. There's always a pattern. Nothing is done in this realm unless it's done in pattern form, because patterns are a form of spell casting. Okay. And I learned this years ago when I was a child with my parent teaching me dark arts of the native people. Okay. Patterns are definitely spell casting. You say something enough, you can make anybody believe it. Okay. That's what's called propaganda. Okay. That's why our governments around the world use propaganda to call the herd or to get the masses to go with what they want done. They use propaganda, which is a way of spell casting, to instill something in somebody's head time and time again, because you repeat it enough, it's eventually going to become true. Okay, so there are patterns to look for. When you talk about the buffalo calf woman, she was wearing white. She changed into the white buffalo, and brought the sacred pipe to the people, and all that, and taught us the songs to sing and stuff. Then we have, before that, we have the legend after that, we have the legend of a beautiful white man coming to us in white robes, teaching us spiritual things. Okay, which we have. From that, we have the medicine wheel. Okay, so things always happen for a purpose. I've always said that we are in a world that's based on duality. Okay, and when you're dealing with duality, you can't have the dark without the light. Okay, now if you look at it from I don't know how many of you out there know about the Gnostic belief. If you look at the Gnostic belief of the sacred feminine, okay, and we talked about this on Jessica's show the last time I was on there, about certain bloodlines and how it's affecting Native people becoming missing, okay, because certain powers that be are looking for a certain bloodline. Okay, well, and I know I've marked myself for that, for saying that, because it's true. Okay, but if you take what the buffalo calf woman brought to our people, and then you take a little bit after that what the beautiful white man in white robes brought to our people, you can look at it like the Gnostic belief of the sacred feminine, the Sophia. Okay, and then after the Sophia, you have the Christ, which is the male half. Okay, so you have the female half and the male half, the duality. Okay, everything happens in a pattern, and to me, that is a pattern. Okay, anything when you deal with duality is a pattern. Okay, and the more you look at it and the more you try to interpret it, the more you can read and the more you'll see, and the more you see, the more you open up yourself to see even more. And it's a never-ending cycle. You will keep on seeing it time and time and time again. And that's what's happening. There is an awakening going on. And it's something that, Christ was teaching everybody. Christ wanted to teach everybody, that they are being adversely controlled by a false god. Okay, a god based on materialism, based on gold, a greedy god, a jealous god. Okay, so Christ comes in and says, this is how it is with the Father, with the Creator. You're being deceived by the prince of this world, the god of this world, for now. So what's happening now? What's encouraging all this to kick up now? So, there's so many ways to look at this, but you have to find the repeated patterns, because there's patterns in everything, guys. Literally, numbers, letters, colors, lyrics of songs even have patterns. Okay, music notes, tones. Everything has a pattern. Cut a tree off at the trunk, lay it on its side, and look at the spirals. The spirals within that tree trunk are a pattern. That shows you how old the tree is. That's a pattern. The glyphs that you see on mesas and stuff, where you see the spirals going within themselves, that's a pattern. That's a representation of a gateway, you can call it a stargate, you can call it a gateway, you can call it a doorway, a portal, whatever you want to call it. That is showing you that there is more than what is in front of us, because we are going to perceive everything in front of us because our brain was taught since we were children of a certain way to perceive things. And we are constantly perceiving those things time and time again until we wake up. And then we realize, wait a minute, my brain was just programmed to believe this. But do I actually believe it? And now we're starting to question, and we're starting to question everything, which is what I say. So I don't know, man. Definitely a weird world, guys.
So the interesting thing was in that picture, you know, some people called commented natives. Okay, I get that, natives, but what type? That wasn't Native Americans as we think of Native Americans. The people of America was depicted as Egyptian in that painting.
Mhm.
That's why I wanted to bring that up. What is
Right.
something that's came out, studies have came out, we've talked about it, about true Egypt. And then you got this picture that says Jesus visits the America. The people in it ain't running around with feathers and headbands. They were Egyptian.
You want to talk about the hidden Egypt and stuff. Go back in the archives of this channel on YouTube and look for the title Hidden Egypt and watch that. And you'll be amazed at what you find out, because I was. And it opened up my eyes, because there is more going on here than what meets the eye. I don't know if it's because they're going from one massive landmass to another as they recycle it and restart everything, reset. But you take a look at the world, lay the world out flat like the UN map, and take a look at where all the regions of deserts are. And tell me if that doesn't look like a coordinated strike from the air. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Look at all the old religions talk about a massive battle within the heavens that affected the earth. And you look at that stuff.
Yep. Yep. Well, I think we've done about enough damage today to everybody.
Yeah, when I saw that,
So, why don't you go ahead and give your final thoughts on it, Eric, and let them know what you got going on. If anything, I hope you're going to just take it easy today, with your back, but let everybody know what you got going on, and I'll go ahead and do the closing.
Okay. Right now it's questionable if I'm going to have a show tonight, because I can't sit in my computer chair right now. I may, if I do, I may have to do it like I am now and do it from my laptop, from my fat guy comfy chair. If I can, I'm not making no promises. Hopefully by tomorrow I'm doing better where I can do the shows and be more proactive than what I am right now. But I'm trying to get healed up. I'm at a healing state right now. I'm trying to get healed up, and it's just
Somebody keeps on pushing that needle in that voodoo doll.
I've not got any more writing done. Yeah, no kidding. I hate when I throw my back out, man. It sucks so bad. But they are going to be possibly doing another ablation on me, which is nice. I can't wait till they do that, because that helped out a lot when they did it last time. So that's on the 5th. I've got to go in for x-rays and MRI on my left knee to see what kind of damage is in there, and my lower back to see if I'm eligible to do that ablation again, because it's kind of healed up from the last time. It's not got me crippled over and in a baby in a fetal position crying like I used to be, but it's getting to the point where it's hindering me doing stuff again. So,
right.
If if I can hopefully get healed up enough where if I can't do a show tonight, I'm going to do one tomorrow and get that going. I apologize. I had so many shows I was wanting to do during this time off. I got hurt and I can't do it. It's just, I can't write. I can't do nothing. I'm literally stuck in this chair to the point where I'm popping Edolac and keeping a lidocaine patch on my back 24/7 just to keep the pain down where I can move right now. So it is. I apologize, guys. I'm sorry. I don't like being down like this. It aggravates the crap out of me, and I've got so much stuff that I've been wanting to do that I can't do because I'm laid up. So that's pretty much me this weekend. Hopefully, I can get it taken care of.
Well, don't forget, David and I will be coming on Wednesday night for the live for the Wicked Wildlife Encounters podcast again. We're going to be covering sea creatures, whales, sharks, you name it, all kinds of stuff, anything with water. And then we're going to let everybody know about the next podcast, which we're going to space it out about every 2 weeks until we run out of things to talk about. But we got that coming up. And then I've got the regular, I had to reschedule the Red Rabbit Hole for next Friday night, this coming Friday night, because of the internet problem and the fact that I just wasn't feeling very well. But yeah, just hang tight. Tomorrow at 11 a.m., we're going to try and come on. We've been fighting the internet here. And I think that the weather we got coming, the cold snap that we got coming is probably going to do hectic with it, but we're going to still do our Supernatural Sunday morning coffee talk where we bring you guys on so you can talk about your encounters and open mic. So other than that, I got a couple short videos I'm going to be putting out this week again. And you know me and them shorts, I'm putting them shorts out a lot too. I did an Ingrid Cold one last night. Did a bunch of them, and I'm blown away at what I've found out about that whole thing and my actual encounter with the same type of a being. So, which happened ironically after I got cancer. That's kind of weird how that happens when you have a tragic event, something like that supernatural really sticks with you, that you can't forget, you can't shake. So, but that being said, everybody, please hit that like button if you can, please. I'm showing 2 likes on here. 2 is what I'm showing. But please share this out.
Yeah, and that's Facebook. That's YouTube's got
one. Question everything, guys. You have that right. That's why I always say it, man. We have that right. Question everything. And we'll see everybody tomorrow morning, okay? Take care, everybody.
God bless. Peace, love, and blessings, everyone.